Welcome to Omhint. My name is Pandit Jagannath Cassidy.
And my name is Vino Nityananda.
So I have a question for you. You know, meditation is a very big thing these days. It's very popular. People are doing it in all walks of life. So I want to know if there's something interesting that you can maybe shed some light on it.
Yes, definitely. Meditation happens at many different levels, and many different styles of meditation are practiced in this world. Because consciousness itself is what is involved in meditation. And consciousness moves over actually 11 different phases. So meditation could be happening in any one of those phases. So this is why there are different styles of meditation. But one thing that I have recognized is many people do meditation as a way to re-energize themselves, to become focused, so that they can do something in their life which is more productive or creates better results like that. I see meditation in a slightly different way. I see meditation as the purpose, as the goal, rather than the means. Mm-hmm. It can be the means itself, but it's also the goal. So the idea is, why meditate for 10 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day so that you can do something better in your life when the meditation itself was a lot better than what you were going to do anyway?
Right.
Because what you're doing in that meditation is you're lifting yourself up to your maximum potential, and no matter what you're doing, lifting yourself to a maximum potential, and then coming back down to a lower level so that you can lift something else that you're doing to a higher potential. But at the end, what you've achieved is much less. It's a little like this. And because generally the world understands things more in monetary terms.
Right.
So if I explain in monetary terms, it makes more sense. It's a little like when I'm meditating, I'm a multi-billionaire.
Right.
I'm meditating that I'm a multi-billionaire. And then I come out of the meditation, and then I'm living my life, and because I'm earning a few $1,000s a month, I find that if I can earn, a few $100,000 a month, that'll be a lot better. And if my meditation can help me to earn from $10,000 that I was earning every month to $100,000 every month, then obviously my meditation is doing great things for me.
Right.
Monetarily.
Right.
Let's just stay within the example. My point is, but when you are meditating being a multi-billionaire.
Right.
So why don't you make multi-billion dollars all the time?
Right.
Why come down to earning a few $100,000 when you had the capacity to earn many billions of dollars?
Right.
You get the idea?
Right. So you keep your consciousness. Why have to go down to a low consciousness when you can keep yourself in a high consciousness all the time? Yeah.
So if you can live your meditation, that's a lot better than meditating for 10 minutes or 15 or 20 minutes a day, and then going back to the rat race, going back to a lifestyle which has so much misery in it, so many difficulties in it, and then you struggle.
Yeah, make your road and the destination the same thing.
Yes. Because what happens, generally speaking, is people, they meditate, and then in the meditation, after they come out of meditation, they go back into a stressful situation again. So they have to go back to do meditation again so that they can again...
It's more like a release valve than a lifestyle.
Exactly. It's a little like taking pills so that I can get rid of my disease. But then I go back to the disease again.
Right.
And I remember the other day you were reading something about some very smart person saying that I would be happy to heal you if you can commit to not going back doing the same things that you did that made you into a diseased condition.
Right, exactly.
What was it that you were saying?
That was the founder of medicine by the ancient Greeks.
Oh, yes.
He said that. Yeah. So he, I forget his name. Hippocrates.
Hippocrates. Okay.
Yeah.
Hippocrates. Okay.
Yes.
And what did he say?
He said that I can promise to heal you if you can promise to stay away from the things that make you sick.
There you go. Yeah, that's very interesting. So in meditation, the idea is that we should be able to, as we meditate, gradually lift our consciousness so high that you're always living in your meditation. And now people say, well, that's not even possible. That's, way beyond reality. It's not reality. It's like there's a saying in English, if it's too good to be true, then that's exactly what it is. It's not true. It's too good to be true. But actually here, the case is just the opposite. And those of us who practice meditation like that have found that the meditation has lifted our consciousness so high that we can see now that we're not going back to the same stressful conditions that we lived in the past because the consciousness became higher.
Right.
So there's another thing as well that I talk about because I do meditation classes to teach this so that you can live your meditation and live a life that is a meditational life so that you don't have to meditate actually because your life is a meditation itself. And so you're always on a high and going higher and higher and higher. So that's actually the better way to do it. What I find is a lot of people who do meditation make some very simple mistakes. For example, they will meditate with their mind.
Right.
So actually, when they're meditating with the mind is not me. It's my mind. Just like, say, for example, I have a car.
Right.
It is my car.
Right.
Now, if the car is meditating, then how am I benefiting from that except that I've got a better car to work with now? Okay? The car did meditation, it became a better car.
Right.
Okay, so I'm driving a better car. But all my life is not driving a better car. My life has to do with so many other things that has nothing to do with my car. The car is a tool that I have that helps me for a small portion of my life.
People think that if I can control my mind, I got it made, but you're not your mind.
You're not the mind. You're higher than the mind. You're the soul. The soul, the mind belongs to the soul and is a tool that the soul is supposed to use so that the soul can achieve much greater things.
Right.
So a lot of people, they meditate with their mind or they meditate with their intelligence. Many people even meditate with their senses.
Right.
They'll look at the tip of their nose and they're using their senses to meditate. You know what I'm saying? So they meditate with their senses, they meditate with their minds, they meditate with their intelligence, they meditate with their false ego.
Right.
I call them the SMIFs, S-M-I-F, senses, mind, intelligence, false ego.
Right.
So the SMIFs. So actually it is the SMIFs that are actually meditating.
Right.
And the SMIFs
I used
are
to
meditating.
do that. I used to do that when I was 6 years old without even knowing what I was doing.
Right. So there will be benefit, no doubt about it. And that's why people love it and they get a lot of nice benefits from that. And it's a big business, actually. A lot of people make millions of dollars teaching people meditation. But unfortunately, the people are being, in a sense, cheated because they're selling themselves short. Their consciousness is way above the senses, the mind, the intelligence, and the false ego. The senses goes to higher, to the level of consciousness itself. That is why in the Vedas they talk about samadhi. Samadhi means now the consciousness is meditating at the level of the consciousness. So now it's coming to its real position. Then higher than the consciousness is actually the soul itself, which is the origin of the consciousness. That's where the consciousness comes from. Consciousness, the energy of the soul. Then higher than the soul is the all-pervasive energy of the Lord called Brahmanda. Right? It's the all-pervasive energy that actually, and a lot of people consider that all-pervasive energy to be God. They say God is energy. That's the first level of God that they know, right? Then higher than that is the Lord sitting in our hearts, in our spiritual hearts.
Yeah, Paramatma.
As Paramatma, as the super soul.
Yeah.
So that's even higher. And then even higher than that is the personality of Godhead, the origin, the supreme absolute truth. In Sanskrit called Para-Brahman, like that, so the greatest Brahman, the Brahman from which the Brahman comes.
Yeah.
Like that. The supreme personality of God himself, Krishna, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, like that. The different names given like that of the supreme personality of Godhead.
Right.
So these are all much higher levels of consciousness. And even at the level of consciousness, there are two levels. There's a level where we have a lording mentality. It's like, I want to be a star. And there are many, many stars in the sky, right? And so I want to be a star. So, that's called false ego. So between the intelligence and the consciousness is the false ego. So, and then Higher than the consciousness is another ego called the real ego.
Right, the me, the real me.
The real me,
right.
That is the servant of God.
Right.
I consider myself eternally to be servant of God, like that. So there are these two nuances. And then the 9 levels, the 9 levels being, the first level being the sense objects, right? Meditating based on sense objects, then meditating based on the mind, or the senses itself.
Right.
The senses are observing the sense objects. It's the second level of meditation. Higher than that, meditation at the level of the mind. That's the third level. Then higher than that is meditation at the level of the intelligence. That's the fourth level. Then higher than that is meditation level of the false ego.
Right.
That's the fifth level. Higher than that is consciousness itself, the sixth level. Higher than that is the consciousness now understands its identity as servant, which is the seventh level, right? And there, instead of being a star, now you're a moon. I mean, there's only one moon, right? There are many stars in the sky, and you see only one moon, right?
Right.
So now consciousness risen to a much higher level.
Right. Self-actualization, sometimes I think they would call
it. Like that, yeah. So then the 8th level then becomes the soul itself, and then the 9th level is the all-pervasive energy. Then the 10th level is the super soul, and the 11th is the supreme absolute truth.
Right.
You know, Param Satya, Param Brahman, like that. So when we meditating,
they describe this in the Kaushiki Upanishad.
Oh, they do.
They go through all these different levels.
There you go. Like
and it's actually, interestingly enough, it's Lord Indra.
Right.
He's talking to this sage, and he's talking
about these
different levels of consciousness.
Yes, consciousness.
And how the intelligent person is aware that there's a higher form, which is controlling all of these.
Yes, the highest form.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the sense objects are controlled by the senses. The senses themselves are controlled by the mind. The mind itself is controlled by the intelligence. Intelligence is controlled by the false ego. False ego is controlled by consciousness itself, which is controlled by the real ego, which is controlled by the soul. So like that. So the controller is only becoming bigger as you go up.
Right.
So the idea is that when we do meditation on all these 11 levels, including all the 11 levels, then that is called true yoga.
Right.
Now you're in yoga, because yoga, the word yoga comes from the word yukta. Yukta means to connect, to link.
To yoke.
A linking process.
It's like a yoke.
The word yoke, it yokes, it connects, it actually binds like that in a way that is progressive. So when all these 11 levels connect to one another properly, then that is called yoga.
Right.
And again, in this world, as we see, a lot of people talk about yoga in partial terms. They're talking about how you can do some asanas where there's a physical help will be given to you, or you can do pranayama, and now the mental areas get more affected as well, like that, and dhyana, and like that. So there are all these angas of yoga.
Right.
But generally, the yoga that we see being taught in this world has to do with physical, contortions, mental things like breathing, for the mind, like that. But actually, true yoga goes to much higher levels, very high, much higher levels. And so when one meditates at all those levels, including all those levels, then that meditation becomes most powerful, and it will transport one into a paradigm, into a dimension that is totally amazing. It's just amazing. It's so amazing. It's like you're living a life that is a daily miracle.
Well, I know somebody actually, and it's funny you bring that up. I know somebody, and they actually sold all their possessions. They're really into yoga. They sold all their possessions and got a one-way ticket to India and moved to Rishikesh. And the thing is that they were really into the body yoga. But and it's kind of like the raising of the levels. They got really good at that, and they realized, what? It's got nothing to. It's all got to do with the consciousness. But I guess certain people they're on that body consciousness. So they have to kind of learn to control that so that they can get to another level of consciousness. You know what I mean?
That happens, and of course you meet the right guides.
People can teach you
how to do this properly.
Exactly.
Like this is why the system.
Well, that's why descending knowledge is more useful.
And this is why guru is necessary. Because guru is a person who has gone to the full highest level. And has understood things from the highest level. That is the real guru. Most of the gurus in this world are not real gurus. I say about 99.7% of the gurus of this world are actually not real gurus. They call themselves gurus, but they're not. They haven't reached that level, you know. So the idea is to reach that level. And then what happens is the fruits also become greater as you go up. The fruit of the first level of meditation are great. They're great fruits from getting there from that. You have wealth, you know, you have a lot of resources at your disposal, you know. So if you really want to become very rich, just the first level of meditation will get you there, you know. Then the second level of meditation gives you even more fruits, even greater fruits that actually give even more happiness. Because ultimately the purpose of life is to live a life, a complete life of knowledge and bliss. This is the description again, Sat Chit Ananda. That is, the soul is constructed of these three elements: eternal life, full knowledge, and full bliss. So the idea is, until we have that eternal life and we have full knowledge and full bliss, we're going to feel something is missing. And this is why a lot of people who do meditation, they still feel like, I haven't quite got it yet. There's something missing. And normally, even normal people, you speak to them, they'll tell you, there's something missing in my life. I know there's something more to life. There's something greater out there, and I need to really figure that out. What is it? What is it? And then they inquire. They inquire about, who is God? Is there a God? And, you know, what is the purpose of my life? Is this my only life? Did I have past lives? Will I have future lives? Are there other planets on which people live? This, that, and the other. These are symptoms of inquiry that show that a person's intelligence is now waking up. It's awakening. Now, awakening intelligence gets a lot of credit. You get a lot of credit for awakening your intelligence. But if you awaken your consciousness, that is way beyond awakening your intelligence. That's way beyond, because consciousness goes beyond the mind and intelligence. That is why it's called transcendental. It transcends the mind. It transcends the intelligence. It transcends the false ego. So these cannot grasp the final truths. Final truths are beyond the mind, beyond the intelligence, beyond false ego. So because they're beyond, how is it that you're going to grasp it with your mind? It's beyond the mind. So these types of things, in meditation, we learn about these things. And then we actually experience the fruits of the higher levels of consciousness, and then we realize, wow, life is worth a lot more than I could ever have realized. Every person can actually achieve this type of greatness. So meditation, when taught in this way and practiced in this way, is real meditation. This is the best meditation. So thank you for asking that question.
Oh, well, and, thank you for the answer.
Yeah. This now, we will show through the seminars that we run, how you can practice this and how you can show this to others, because the teacher is the best student. If you really want to become good at anything in life, you should teach it. If you teach it, then you're going to become very good at it.
Then you become the master.
Then you become expert. You become expert. Thank you very much.